Hi, everybody. My name is Rob Gordon, and this is a Hangout sponsored by the entrepreneur, self-employed, and small business community on Google+. And this time we're doing something a little bit different. We're having what I'm calling a virtual co-working session. Never tried it before, don't know if it will work, but I don't really see any reason why it shouldn't. And the idea is kind of simple. If you were in a real co-working situation, you would be working all day, and then eventually you would get bored, or one of your coworkers would get bored, and they'd come up to your cubicle or workspace, and they'd pop their head over and say, "Hey, what you working on?" That's all this. You've been working maybe by yourself all day, or maybe with other people. But now, in the virtual world here, in other cities and towns across the nation and the world, some of your coworkers are now going to poke over your head and say, "Hey, what you doing?" And so, in a nutshell, that's all that is. We're getting chatted. We've got Denise here, Denise Duquette, associate of mine. I'm delighted she could come. And John, what's your last name?
Chang.
John Chang. Well, why don't you introduce yourself to start, John, and then we'll go back to Denise, and then we'll get the show on the road. What do you do? Give us don't tell us. Don't answer the "what are you doing right now" question, but just give us a little bit about the big picture about your business to start with.
Yeah, sure. Basically, I've started kind of realizing that the people I really love working with are creative entrepreneurs, folks who they have some kind of art or something that they really love to pursue, and then they're looking to basically, find a way to monetize it, to build a lifestyle around what it is that they really are passionate about. So that's really who my ideal audience. And then the way I'm trying, basically looking to kind of help them is take some of the things I've done over the years, everything from, just basic marketing to also I've helped people to buy and sell businesses. Just basically, taking it from the ground up all the way through to when they may possibly either look to retire or make a change or, basically, ultimately do what it is that they, beyond simply the work that they're doing, but also having the life that they really want to live and stuff. So the other means I'm doing this is creating content. I've recently created a couple of Udemy courses. One's on Instagram marketing, and the other one is, of course, on buying and selling businesses. And I'm still really looking to hit my stride to figure out what it is that the folks really need to know. And that's always the trick with any of this stuff, is not simply, in a given moment, what I think that they want to know or what it is that will help them, but simply what is their pain, what it is that right now in the given moment that they're really struggling with. So that's one of the things that I'm really looking to do, is just really get more of a pulse of what it is that really are challenges for creative entrepreneurs.
Oh, that is just absolutely awesome. I love it. I could talk about what you just said forever. I have noticed that a lot of entrepreneurs are really making a good effort to help other entrepreneurs now. And I don't know if we're tapping into that. In a way, there's almost too much information. But I want to delve into that a little bit more. But Andrew Leifert, did I pronounce your name? Welcome, Andrew. We're just doing introductions right now. I already know you, but for the sake of our millions of viewing audience, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do? Because you've got a fun business.
Yeah, well, my name's Andrew Ledford. I do dog training primarily, or I have in the past. I'm looking to expand into other areas. I have a community TV show on Long Beach Cable, and really looking to do more video.
Oh, you got that going, huh? Because we haven't talked in maybe a year.
Yeah, it's been so long that my old camera would not work on Google Plus anymore. They changed their rules, so I had to get a webcam instead of using a regular camera.
Did you ever get? Andrew owns owns the dog community. He's a dog trainer, and I think you have a huge number of views. Is it like 1 million members of that community?
It's not even within the first 100 largest communities anymore. It's 180,000 something.
Okay, so Britney Spears beats you out. How are you saying? That was supposed to be a joke. It just wasn't very funny. Denise, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Again, I already know you and what you're doing. You've got a cool business. Denise has personally helped me in a number of ways. I'm going to show, when I show my projects, I'm going to show part of that. But why don't you give us a quick overview, not necessarily what you're doing right at the moment, just a quick overview of your business, Denise.
So I'm Denise. I'm the owner of Out of the Office Virtual Assistants, and I've been a VA since 2006, and love what I do. I'm actually getting ready to go speak at the International Virtual Assistant Association Live Summit in Myrtle Beach the first week of May. Originally, we were going to be talking about Google+, but we kind of right around the time that they announced photos and streams, we decided that it would be best to change our topic. So we did a comprehensive ebook, The A to Z's of Running a Virtual Assistant Practice through Evernote. And so that's what we're going to be talking about. And so we're putting the final touches on the actual presentation because we've got this great ebook that we're giving away, but we're not going to talk about virtually anything in the book. They can read that in their own time. We're going to talk about the fun ways of taking notes and having a little more lively, engaging meeting rather than a top-down, sit down, take some notes, go to school kind of session. So
well, that sounds very cool. I think you made a wise choice in not doing it about Google+, because nobody really knows what's going on with Google+ except Google, and they're not talking.
Exactly.
And they don't really use that name anymore. I haven't heard anyone at Google use that name in like a year. It's, at least not in printed form.
Yeah, I was at the Chrome Live event yesterday, and I was, seeing what kind of things they're coming out with, and even though they mentioned Hangouts and everything, yeah, there is no mention of Google+. So, we had a backup topic to use in case, because we had to be a speaker over 6 months ago, and even that second choice was not well received, so we went with Evernote. It's easy, but it can be much more.
Is this ebook written now? Or?
It's written in a format downloadable for the conference. It's not like something that's out on Amazon or anything like that yet. Maybe someday, though.
I'd like to read it. It sounds interesting.
It's got a lot of techie nerdy stuff in it, so it's cool.
Okay, we're going to get started with the actual cool session now. Okay, theoretically, when we roll up our sleeves, but it's not really rolling up your sleeves. It's sort of like when you take a work break at work. So, it's not quite the coffee break where we just sit around shooting the shit. It's slightly more serious, but not totally serious. So what I'd like you to do is, if you have not already, is open some tabs of work projects you'd like to talk to us about or like to show us, tabs in your browser, and then we'll give everybody 5 minutes or so. So you show 2 or 3 tabs, whatever you can do. And if you need to show more, we'll see if we can come back. John, I think I'm going to pick on you first. Are you ready yet? Or?
Yeah, I'm game.
Okay. Why don't you start?
I'm right now getting it.
We've got kind of the big picture about what you're doing.
Right.
Your venture to help entrepreneurs. Now just tell us, right now I'm working on whatever. So go for it.
Okay. Maybe the easiest thing to do is right now I'm going to. I guess I can share my screen, right?
Yeah. Do you know how to do that? In fact,
I do. I'm starting it now.
Okay.
And so it should be coming up for my screen.
Okay. Looks good. I see it.
Okay. So these are the few Udemy courses that, and you can see that like I have a couple of draft ones that it's like kind of my the ones that like I'm thinking of like my first course that I actually started to work on was the course for field inspection, which is one of the first things I was able to sell in terms of online training. And it's such a small niche that I realized that like it's just not really. It's also not what I'm passionate about. And like I said, as we've talked about, I really believe that creative entrepreneurs are really who I feel the most connection with, and that's why like I've shifted the focus then to these other courses that leverage more some of the experiences I have. So the first one that I created was actually build a business that you can sell, and that one talks about the idea that like so many times entrepreneurs are spending their you know energy and all their resources and stuff on building a business that ultimately they may not be able to kind of benefit from in the sense of that um, if you have a business that like is really a job that only you can do, ultimately you're not ever going to be able to sell that business if you ever need to. If like for example, um, let's say you formed it with a partner or stuff like that, and you decide to go separate ways, and you just want to cash out. Well, if you are the business, if like you're doing roles in there that nobody else can do, that's not going to be a sellable business. If say for example, like have some kind of like situation where you get sick or something like that, and you need to kind of get out of the business again. And again, if you are the business, then that's not something that anybody's going to be interested in buying and stuff. And so that's really what I, learned when I was helping folks to buy and sell businesses. And so that's why I decided that, like this is something that I needed to kind of help people understand. And that's really what that course covers. So it's just basically from the beginning to end about that very topic and stuff like that. So that's my first course. Then afterwards, recently, like a few weeks ago, I helped to co-produce a course with my friend Sarah Davidson about Udemy marketing, or excuse me, Instagram marketing for startups and entrepreneurs. And she's also kind of we've just kind of started talking and realizing we're on the same mission to help folks who are really getting started and stuff like that. And again, my focus has been creative entrepreneurs, but there's so much alignment in terms of the needs of just anybody who's doing a startup or everything like that, and there's so many things to cover. We picked Instagram marketing because that's a growing area. That's a social media platform that we've really seen a lot of growth and a lot of confusion as to how to use it and leverage it and stuff. So that's why we decided to focus on that. She's got background working with startups doing that, so that's why we kind of joined forces and created that program and stuff. So those are like my recent kind of things, and I'm saying all this more not so much to plug these and stuff, but more that like I'll be honest, I'm still trying to figure out what it is that like how I can best help creative entrepreneurs. I recently launched a blog. Let me switch to that real quick. It's called The Butterfly Formula, and I'm just basically starting to write about, just the topics that I feel like I've come up, because one of the things that kind of was discussed in some forums and stuff like that was the idea of fear and how, like so many times fear takes so many shapes and forms and gets in the way of creativity. And so I just kind of shared some of my own experiences and flying in terms of just just crazy things that I have to admit I've done.
Are you a pilot?
Sorry?
Are you a pilot?
I am actually. I got my start in the Navy. I ended up actually getting to the final check ride, but they decided that unfortunately they were making cuts, and I just didn't make the cut and everything like that. So for time in the Navy, I spent actually on the ground, supporting our pilots and stuff like that. But basically, I did get my private pilot's license. I went through, like I said, just for all the flight school right up to the last check ride and stuff like that. And I share some of that, just basically because, for better for worse, it was just basically an experience that I can't really. There's nothing in the world that I can trade that for. It was just amazing, just to do things like aerobatics, just to do formation flying and stuff. But to do that, I had to face some real fears. I actually did not know how to swim before I joined the Navy, and I share some of that in what I wrote about. And I guess for some reason, there must be something wrong with me in the sense that like I think I have this fear switch that's kind of turned off or something like that. And yet at the same time, I have fears just like everyone else. Like there's definitely different things that like when I stood up on the platform for that swim test and not knowing how to swim and anything like that, This is like 15, 20 feet in the air, and still needing to kind of jump in that water anyway. What was it that allowed me to do it? I can't fully explain it, other than that, like, part of me realized that, like, I needed to do it, and I went ahead and did it and stuff like that.
Well, John, I can really feel your passion. You've got a very cool business, very cool ventures. I want to come back to you.
Sure.
Really good start. I got a good sense of what you're up to now. But we've got some more people. I want to at least get people in a match while I lose the window. So I'm staring at something else here. All right, wait a second. I'll find you people. Let's see, who has... want to introduce my friend Mark Pierce. Mark, how are you doing?
Hi, everybody. I don't really have a business venture, so I'm just here.
Yes, you do. You've had some cool ones because I know about them. Yeah.
Yeah, what I did was, I'll just let everybody know. So what I did is I converted all my ideas to a video tutorial library. I converted all my skill sets with WordPress security and teaching security on your local laptop. All the things that I know about malware and security, I'm going to teach it. And something I didn't tell you, Rob, is I don't have a business no longer. So that's my...
Are you employed by someone now? Or?
No.
Okay.
No.
You just.
I'm actually officially retired.
Congratulations. But Mark, by the way, is just awesome at video productions and integrating them in websites, and actually kind of the best I've ever seen. So we'll come back to you. I think you're not really retired. I'm suspicious about that comment. But I want to get Michael McGuire introduced here. Michael, I don't think you and I have ever been in a hangout together. Welcome. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what you're doing, but not really go into the current project, just kind of the big picture about what you're up to right now.
Sure, Rob. Thanks. Good to see you. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, I've got a little business consulting company, MMC Business Management Solutions, and I work with a number of clients across North America, down in Orlando, Calgary, here in Northern Ontario, and basically, as I try to explain to my mom, just help people manage their businesses.
Well, that's awesome. That's awesome. I'm sure a lot of us include help. Denise, could you check for me to see if anybody needs an invitation? We've got plenty of people here for the hangout.
Actually, TellSafe Business Center is wondering if there's a way to ask questions. So maybe you could invite them in, and then they can ask their questions live.
They already have an invitation. If they need another one, let us know. But yeah, they can ask questions right there, and if you could keep an eye on that.
Yep.
Yeah, and then just interrupt me or when a question comes up, because that's welcome. And let's see, what next? What should we do next? I think we're going to pick on you next. I'll let you finish. Well, no, we'll go to Andrew first, and then we'll come back to Denise. Andrew, I told everybody to open their tabs for projects they want to show, but I have a feeling your tabs are some dogs. But if you want to, why don't you tell us what you're working on now, what you're trying to grow with your business, problems you have. This is now we're getting into the part where a coworker in your co-working space, comes over and says, "Hey, what you working on? What you working on, Andrew?"
I'm working on just making enough money to get a new video camera.
Okay. How are you doing? How are you trying?
I'm actually looking for a job.
Okay.
And probably in maybe either video, or I'd like to do hosting, but that's very competitive. Like a host on a show.
Okay.
And that's what I do on my show that's on Long Beach.
Are you still a dog trainer? Or?
Yeah, I still train. If somebody wants me to train, that's my point of reference for everything I do. Whether it's interacting with people or working with dogs or pretty much everything, because it kind of encompasses all of life, training dogs, because you're working with the people, you're working with dogs. There's that interspecies communication, so that there's a lot of body language. There's just so much that crosses over from people to dogs. A lot of ritualization, a lot of things with aggression, body posturing. So My dog training, I use like basically 8 positions to work the dog, to move them around, to get them to do what I want as far as facing them, as well as stepping. Same thing for people. It's basically taken from Daichuan.
Okay. So you say you're looking for a job. Is the dog training not bringing enough money, or not
You know, since Google has decided to own local, yeah, I have a really hard time marketing online.
Okay.
It used to be that I was like within the first page of all key search words and all local search. But since Google's been tightening the news on controlling local more and more, I get less and less business. No matter how much I write, no matter how much social media I do, it's just you know, without advertising with somebody, Google or Facebook, it's just not there.
Yeah, I get the feeling that organic SEO is a thing of the past. And you know, we're getting to be like hamsters running around on all those little wheels. No, I tell my clients if I'm doing it good, you know, just pay Google. You know, some of those Google, what is that called? AdWords Express. I recommended that to a client. It's like $5 a month. He was a furniture store and he didn't do it. He didn't do it because I gave him the advice, and he decided he didn't trust me. So he's just posting bullshit on Google Plus now that nobody cares about, and won't ever give him any business. I say, you know, just give the devil his due. Just pay Google. You know? They do have some pretty low-cost plans. Try it for a couple months. And, you know, I'm not advertising for Google. I'm just saying pay Google and Facebook. Those are the people who are going to get seen. I mean, I'm not an SEO person, so someone can disagree with me if they want, but that's kind of my take on it. All right.
I used to think that, you know, if you produced content that was fairly high quality, that you would get people showing up, and it used to be that way, but I just don't find that anymore.
Okay. Okay. We'll probably come back to it. I want to make sure everybody gets in here. People forget that Google in the business to make money. John says that's correct. Denise, you told us a little bit about your conference you're going. We know that you're, you know, a virtual assistant, and that you run the virtual assistants community on Google+, which is a very active and dynamic community. What are you working on right now? What's in the next, you know, day, week, couple weeks? And if there's anything you want to show us on screen.
Damn cat! I swear to God. So I'm literally chunking out bits and pieces of our presentation for IVAA and making it into a presentation on Google Slides so that I don't have to bring my laptop with me to South Carolina. Anything that I don't have to carry is a godsend. And other than that, I've been working on a lot of. I'm also a SCORE mentor with our local Champlain Valley chapter, and we kind of had a big brouhaha offsite meeting a few weeks ago and needed to really define a marketing strategy for our chapter. I mean, ultimately, SCORE is about giving mentoring to, but our local chapter really didn't have a really guide as to what else we wanted to do. So we had a big brouhaha meeting, and it was very taxing on my patience, but so I've been working a lot to basically write from A to Z a marketing strategy.
What do you mean a brouhaha? Was it contentious?
There's a generational issue. You know, I mean, I'm like 15 years younger than the next youngest person in SCORE, so the concept of advertising our workshops and roundtables on social media is something they would not consider. So I finally got ticked off enough, you know, I because of my geographic area, I don't have a really wide territory for people I can see. And I said, you know, here's the deal. I volunteer. I come up every friggin' month. I drive 35 miles one way to come to a monthly meeting for clients I don't see and actions that don't get done. The least you can do is, if we're going to do a marketing thing, if we're going to actually try to find people who are looking to start a business, let's make a marketing plan and make that happen, not just kind of sit there and figure it out as we go. And so I'm not going to say I lost my temper, but I just basically said, you know, get it together.
I can't imagine Denise losing her temper because I've been in hangouts, private hangouts with her, where I've just been ranting and venting, swearing like a sailor, and totally kept her cool.
Yeah, but see, I'm used to that. But it was just, it was more of the fact that every month we do a roundtable session, and every month the attendance has really dropped, and the topics they're talking about are so outdated.
I think school needs to be re-engineered or something. I know a lot of people think very highly of the organization. I do think it's a good concept, but get rid of the retired part.
No, I think
actually
they are very valuable.
I had one school mentor a number of years ago, and I didn't remember what I was talking to him about. I think it was a thing I was doing for California, and he asked me how much I thought I could make off it in the first year, and I think I did some really exaggerated calculations, really, really, really exaggerated, and said I thought I could make $75,000, which just wasn't true. I mean, if I made $10,000, I would have been lucky. And he goes, well, why even bother? Because in his worldview, $75,000 was just pocket change. This was a number of years ago, and that was kind of the .com era. But still, like, God, dude, I mean, some of us have to eat. And this kind of dovetails in with some of the things that John was saying that I didn't mention before. Is the economy is really changing a lot, and in particular, the workforce is really changing. And I think the reason we're seeing so many people trying to help entrepreneurs in this is because there's not that much good help out there in the system. Mark, is Mark still here?
Yeah.
Mark and I talked about I think you're in the one state where they did allow it, the unemployment system. If you have a corporate job and you get laid off, you get rewarded at one time for as long as 2 years of unemployment. We lose our jobs, we just starve. And Mark was in the one state, Oregon, that had some programs that, did allow a little bit for startups, but even that was pretty lame, wasn't it, Mark? It wasn't that much.
It failed me miserably. Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that. But anyway, I'm gonna now jump in and talk about what I'm doing. So let me try to screen share over here. Let me see here. I just did that wrong. Okay. Now, if I freeze, which sometimes happens, just somebody else take over and start talking and get everybody else talking about themselves. Because that is possible. We've been lucky so far, knock on wood, but I'm going to try right now. Okay. Wait a second. What happened is I'm going to cancel that because the hangout itself came up, and I'll go into an infinite loop if I show that. Let me try again.
I think it was a good idea, Rob, having this. I stumbled on this, and I thought, oh, yeah, how many people is going to show up and share what they're working on?
Well, Mark, why don't you talk a little bit while I'm getting ready, because I'm kind of suspicious about your retirement. Tell us the rest of your story, because I'll show you where I left off. Mark was because I know you. And in fact, we did some work together. Mark was a data security specialist for the federal government. Then he started his own venture to do security, mostly for WordPress blogs.
Right. Yeah, I carried over my computer security over because I found out that a lot of the malware that people are getting in WordPress is actually spawning from their local computers, and people are not listening to what I'm saying. And so what they are is they're getting infected, and the advanced technology that we're seeing out there today is so advanced I can't even keep up with it. And now I'm reading it's so far advanced that they're using I can't even explain it. I read an article yesterday that it's getting so advanced that now companies are talking about getting rid of the definitions within the virus software itself and using another form. We'll talk about that later. But anyway, stuff I talk about is pretty boring. But let's put it this way. If you are using a laptop to bank, you better make sure that laptop or computer is properly locked down. So what I try to do is teach people the very basics. Security on your local machine will get into your WordPress site.
Okay, so you're not really.
If it does, you're in big trouble. You're in big trouble.
See, here's what, Mark, that's a hot area. I mean, there's nothing hotter than.
Nobody listens until it gets done, and then they just say I got hacked. But they don't know why. And then I explain kind of how it happens. And then pretty much nobody really thinks about it. They just go on their computer and they type away. And I'm going to be building a pretty large security video tutorial series on my site that I'm building now. So this information, I'm not advertising it. It's a membership site, and I'm not actually charging. And if I tell people it's free, they won't think it's of any value. So once you sign up, you get on the inside of the site, you'll find out it's free. The only thing I have on the inside is a donation button. And you know what I'm going to say on the inside? Pay for what you think it's worth.
That's an approach that might work for you. Because you provide a valuable service, there's no doubt. My voice is giving up, so I'm going to be a hog, and I'm going to do mine now.
Okay, your screen's blank, but yeah, I'm quiet. Go ahead.
It's blank? My screen is blank?
Yeah, I see black. Does anybody see black?
You still see black?
Yeah, there it is. Come up.
Okay. Okay. This is a little bit similar to what. Let me preface my presentation by saying I am just hustling and looking for work now, and I've got two offers on the table. One, I wrote a long form. I wrote and put on the community a long form blog post for $125. Damn voice. My voice never gets out. That is still on the table. It's a really good offer. I've got researched. I will do a research blog post for you. And I wrote up why, if you look at the world market, that's very expensive. If you look at what I'm doing, it's not. So if that's something you're interested in, take a look at that post or ping me and I'll send it to you. And I haven't reposted it lately, but I have a 10 hours of professional services offer for $250. I got some great clients on that one, and it went really well. I'm thinking of reposting that maybe even today. And I'm not going to tout that. I explain it more in the post. I can show you later. But if you're interested in that, the way I work with clients, I work 100% in their interests. I don't have any other groups. I don't try to push Google or anybody on anything. I just look at your situation and say, what can I do to help this person win? And I get 10 solid hours of that for $25. For $25 an hour for $250 total. It's a really good deal. I'll send you the post if you're interested. So that's a preface, and but I do want to show you some of my slightly longer term projects, and I'm going to keep mine till 5 minutes. So I want to start by showing. This is Google Drive, and I'm the entrepreneurs community. I'm the Virtual Brain Trust, which has not been very active lately. We've asked a few times, or people have come up with questions like, hey, I want to start a business. What do I do? This dovetails right into what John is saying, too. And it always strikes me as being kind of a dumb, stupid, not stupid, but, it's such a, naive isn't the right word. I don't have the right word, but I'm always surprised at the amount of interaction those questions do. I want to start a business. What do I do? And people just jump in with all sorts of ideas and suggestions, and some of them are really good. But what I think we're missing is a roadmap for entrepreneurs, for small businesses, for startups that take you exactly where you want to go. That there needs to be some kind of assessment tool that first looks like, where are you at? What have you done? I mean, things as simple as, do you have a logo? Now, you might even decide to skip certain steps, like, I don't need a logo now. So anyway, from a number of posts over a couple of years, I've compiled an outline of, and it's nowhere near finished, but I've taken the Google Docs and I've numbered them, the different things that I think a small business entrepreneur should have to do. And these are all really blank. Like, here's what do you really want. The very first ones are really personal development activities, because you really can't separate the life of the entrepreneur from the entrepreneur. They're really similar. So this is an example of a little module I would like to write, or maybe I have written. Oh, well, I got setting goals and objectives. I clicked the wrong one. But you get the idea. Some of these, this one's not done. So the idea would be give the person a summary of goals, a little exercise they should do, and then references. Goals and objectives are kind of a weird one because it's more controversial than you might think, and so I haven't even written that one yet. So what I have done, to get on what are you working on now, because that's a long-term picture. And like I said, I would love to have an assessment tool, or maybe we've got some experts like from the entrepreneurs community, some of the people in this hangout even, to say, let's assess this business and give them our best shot. But we need that roadmap. So I'm working on that roadmap. And then I cherry-picked some of my favorite ones, because I just don't want to grow old and die while I'm doing this. So I cherry-picked some of my favorite ones, and this is the one, Venture Acceleration for Solopreneurs. If you had to set a theme for what I'm doing, that would kind of be it. And then I also post on the entrepreneurs community. I wanted to write a long-form blog post. Well, the more I looked into it, the more I realized this is not just a long-form blog post. This is at least an ebook. And so then I picked out other ones that I like. What do you really want? Have a really good exercise. Help you decide what you really want. How to become an expert. These are all partially written. Taking action. Over the years, I've got some great advice on this. Some of it contradictory. That's the thing about entrepreneurial things. A lot of them they're like Chinese proverbs. They could be, he who hesitates is lost. Look before you leap. Entrepreneurial advice is exactly the same way. Sometimes it's completely the opposite. This one is something I probably will work on next, is how to conduct a resource inventory. That's part of effectuation, which is an entrepreneurial strategy that says basically you look at what you have and you set your strategy from that. I'm going to bring this one up because this is really just rough material, but this is what are we working on now. I looked up, how do you do a resource inventory if you're a solopreneur? And there was nothing on it out there. And I don't have very many personal resources right now. This is, by the way, my template for doing long-form blog posts, which I mentioned is an offer now, I've got a really good system for making long-form material. I'm better at it than other people. But let me get down to where I was writing some of my notes. Can everybody still hear me?
Yeah, you're doing good.
I just had this nightmare that I was talking to myself for the last hour.
You're doing good.
I mean, here's what this is kind of a cool list. I mean, if you want to do an inventory of what you have, especially if you think, I hate to use that word abundance, to come at things with a mindset of abundance. Well, when you can't pay the bills, that's hard to do. But I'm just starting to say, well, if you did a personal resource inventory, here's some of the things you might find. You can look at your own experience, the ideas you had, projects, or even past projects. Your values, that's another thing I'm going to go into. Your habits, you might have some good habits or habits you can change. Your systems, I'm really strong on this one. As Denise is, we've got some kick-ass systems, right, Denise?
He is the process king.
Yeah, well, you are. Denise and I are very like-minded on systems. We're just finish each other's sentences. Your relationships, your possessions, your contacts, your technology, your skills, your living situations. No matter how poor you are, your story, your feelings, your brains, your bright spot. This means when you look at the small things that are working. So I'm not gonna hog too much time. I just want to go real quickly into two things I'm working on. One is my more idealistic. My more idealistic project is World Startups. This is something